I'm Amy.
I'm Hunter.
This is the W7W Podcast. It's a show about our local yarn store, W7W, here in Fort Worth, Texas.
All right, so what are we going to talk about today?
We can talk about the most beautiful pom-pom ever.
I dare to object.
We both made pom-poms this week.
Uh-huh.
We did a pretty good job.
Yep.
I'm just giving mine a final trim because I forgot to weave in the ends on my hat before I gave it to Hunter to display in the shop. So I thought I would do that. And really, honestly, I think this pom-pom's too big for this hat. I got carried away.
I'm glad that you're big enough to admit that.
I got a little carried away.
Yeah, that's a lot of pom-pom for that hat.
I'll show you the hat in just a minute.
Yeah, I kind of, when I was trimming my pom-pom up, I just kind of got to a point where I was like, okay, I just need to stop, because if I don't force myself to stop, I will trim this thing into oblivion.
Like when people are cutting hair and they just keep cutting and cutting and cutting, it gets shorter and shorter and shorter. Yeah.
It's okay for it to be a little imperfect.
Yes. Wait, pom-poms?
Mm-hmm.
No, they have to be perfect.
Yeah.
What's going on this week, Hunter?
All right, we've got some classes coming up. We're finally getting our February classes up and listed, and I'll be working on the newsletter shortly thereafter. So we've got a couple of Alexandra Davidoff classes coming up.
Yeah, she's going to do her Cardona hat, which is in Malabrigo Book 15, which is a cabled hat. And
Yes.
she's done it in the Malabrigo Rios, this particular color. It would also be lovely in this color, or to make the cables really stand out, wouldn't it be great in this bright orange? You know, actually, if you have somebody that hunts and fishes in your life, maybe a bright orange hat would be a great...
Oh, yeah, like the safety thing.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
So,
it's not a bad idea.
That's a glazed carrot, and it's really, it's almost between a red and an orange. It's pretty nice.
Yeah, I had on my list that I wanted to bring in an orange, and that one almost quite literally jumped out at me.
We don't have the hat with us right now. Alexandra said she's going to drop it off this week, but we'll drop in a picture.
Mm-hmm.
I actually didn't find it on Ravelry, so
Really?
yeah, it might not be available on
Well,
Ravelry.
We'll take a look anyway, and if we can find it, then...
Well, it's on Instagram. You can put it.
Oh, yeah. We'll
Yeah.
get it in there then.
So also, I will be teaching a blocking class because that's something that I think some people are afraid of, or maybe just don't understand, or they think it's going to be a pain, so they don't want to do it. So what we're going to do in class is knit a little sample square out of worsted weight with some ribbing and some stockinette, maybe some eyelet lace and a picot edge. And then we're going to block that thing in class.
Block it real good.
Block it good. And we'll talk about wet blocking, steam blocking, and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to do that at the end of the month on the 24th of February.
Cool.
And Mel is going to do a couple of spinning workshops.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, she's going to offer a long draw class, and that's going to be on the 9th.
What do you suppose long draw is?
Okay, basically, as she described it, and I was kind of tied up with a few things at the time, but basically it's
You
when...
weren't listening.
I was listening. It's when you're at the spinning wheel, and instead of like doing these short little draws, you like draw it back like that, and that's about the full magnitude of my understanding of the situation.
There's a short draw. There's a short draw and a long draw.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then she's also going to be offering the spinning consistency class again. That's been filling, and there's been interest there. So as long as there's interest, we will continue to offer
That's good. I'd love to get my spinning more consistent.
So,
And then, of course, we've got the beginning knitting and beginning crochet if you've got friends or family who would like to give that.
Yeah, with
a
few
go.
exceptions, that's most every Saturday morning.
Yeah. So, what new yarns do we have?
Okay, so we featured last week, we brought in some new Anzula. Well, the Anzula has continued to come since we've talked to you, and now we have a new base that we are offering entirely. It is Ava, which is their sport weight MCN merino cashmere nylon, and we've got it in several colors. This is it. We've got several colors. These are only a few of them. And it is 330 yards, machine wash cold, and yeah, 80% merino, 10 cashmere, 10 nylon.
It's very soft.
It is.
5 to 7 stitches on a US 2 through 8. Wow.
Yeah, I noticed that when I was entering it in. I was like, okay, quite the range.
Quite the range, yes. Yes. All right.
So cool.
And then the other thing we got in is we went ahead and ordered the Germantown by Kelburn. And this is a 100% North American wool. It's from sheep that are bred here in the good old US of A. It is $14 per 220 yards. Worsted weight. It's in they call this a vintage pull skein. It's kind of reminds me of, and I think it is meant to remind you of yarn from the 20s and 30s and 40s. It's the way yarn, your grandma or great-grandma's yarn used to come a lot like this. It doesn't feel, I mean, I don't think it's itchy. It's not as soft as merino. But I don't think it's itchy. And that is what I knit this January hat from. This is a Kelburn Woolens pattern by Courtney Kelly from Kelburn. And they're doing a hat a month. And this is the January hat. They're going to do one hat a month with this Germantown yarn. We have 5 colors right now. We've got the color recommended for the hat, which, I mean, you can do it with this color, you can do it with another color. It is it spruce?
Pine, I think. It's right there.
Sage.
I knew it was a 4-letter word.
Did I say spruce? That's not 4 letters.
No, I said pine.
You said pine. Alright, we've got sage. Sage.
We're gonna make
honey. Navy. Boy, that does not look navy.
No, it does not. That's why I kind of lined it up with the cream and the gray.
That does not look navy. I mean, if I stare at it long enough, it does.
Squint your eyes.
If I squint my eyes long enough, it does, but it really kind of looks like a dark gray. And then we've got pebble and natural.
And there's actually a 6th color over there.
Is there?
Do not want to get up and go get it, so we're just going to call it cat vomit.
What color is it? Oh, it's like a dusty pink. He said he wasn't going to do it, and then he got up and he did it.
Well, that's boring. It's called tan.
It's not cat vomit. Don't call it cat.
We're dealing with a lot of cats.
Are you trying to sell yarn or not?
We're dealing with a lot of cats these days. I just had a flashback.
Oh my gosh. Kind of does look like cat food. It's tan.
It's kibble.
Good Lord, Hunter.
Yeah.
All right, but you can make a beautiful hat from it. This is the January hat. It's got lots of baubles, which were pretty fun. Lots of cables, which were also pretty fun. And a cool pom-pom, which my pom-pom is probably too big, but I like a big pom-pom, and I cannot lie.
Yeah,
and then it comes, you can get a little tag kit for $4, and it comes with a little bit of yarn, but I had plenty of yarn, and a little leather tag you can sew on, which a lot of the hats nowadays have these little leather tags. Cute.
Yeah, so that pom-pom is out of control. Amy asked me to put the hat on one of these head forms that we have. And it's pretty lightweight. We could probably stand to get some sturdier ones. But then she was like, I want to take a picture of it. And I want it to be sideways so you can see the pom-pom. Which was like, oh, it's staying.
That's because it's over her eyes.
All right. Yeah, I was adjusting it to like make sure you could see the face.
You know,
and then it's like, still staying. It was like every time.
Oh God. These are child-sized head foam. They're left over from when we did the hats for the children.
Oh, yeah, the charity event.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm,
yeah.
The superhero hats.
The wigs. Yeah, we were gonna do those. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what those are from.
Right.
They're actually, we could probably use some adult size wigs.
All right, we're about to be interrupted, folks.
Okay, stand by. Anyway, yeah, adult size head forms might be good.
Yeah, definitely.
Might be good. All right.
Okay.
Oh, and pins. We have some cool pins. Oh, and bags.
Mm-hmm.
Forgot to grab a bag.
Oh, yeah.
I'll show you the pins while Hunter grabs a bag or two. So this is a cool. These are from the Knit Two Together Club enamel pin. This one says "Not Perfect." It's got some drop stitches. This one is wool. This one's got some powerful knitting. I like this one. I'd knit that.
Also my favorite.
Make, wear, mend is what that says. Which I like that philosophy. And a sheep and a baby sheep. I like the idea of this non-disposable clothing, because I'd like some clothing that doesn't wear out in a year or 2 years.
Why does she keep looking at me?
I don't know. Hand me the bag. These are some of the new crossbody bags by Twig and Horn. They are a good size canvas bag with a leather crossbody strap, which is removable, and so you can use it as a tote too. Two smaller straps. It's got 2 pockets on both sides, 2 pretty deep pockets, go all the way down, and it's got a center section. That's nice, with grommets. So if you wanted to put your ball of yarn inside there and then feed it through here, you could do it like that, and the zipper won't get in the way. I'm afraid that the zipper's gonna chew up my yarn. And it's got inside pockets on both sides. Nice sturdy bag. And we've got that in how many colors do we have left?
We originally had 4 colors. We're down to 2. It's this khaki, I believe, and then a navy.
A real navy.
Yeah, I wasn't quite sure what to expect when these bags came in, but they've been flying out of here. So
I haven't even got one yet.
Wow.
Nice. I know. And then also from Twig and Horn, we have their leather and canvas accessory pouch, which you unroll it. You could put a lot of things in here. You could put almost a whole set of needles in there, interchangeable needles. You could put double pointed needles in one of these. You could put scissors.
And the great thing about these also that Sandra pointed out is she got a different needle case, but then these came in and she decided to go with this one instead because the other needle case she got could not accommodate her 8-inch DPNs, whereas this one can.
Oh, you know what else would be nice? You could put some sticky notes or your tape for your highlighter tape, and then and a pencil would fit in there, because I'm always marking up my patterns with hash marks or sticking sticky notes on them. So
you're hashtagging your patterns?
Hash marks. So that's a fun little accessory pouch. And it's flat, doesn't take up a whole lot of space in your bag.
Nice.
There you go. I think that's all the new stuff we have right now. Of course, we got lots of stuff on order. So I've already shown you my finished hat. Do you want to show your finished hat?
Sure. This is my finished hat. It is called Cabled Super Chunky Hat, I think it was. Hold on. Yeah, Super Chunky Cable Hat on Ravelry. This is it. It's knit out of Malabrigo Rasta, which is their super bulky weight yarn. And it just took one skein to do it, pom-pom included.
You had a bit left over.
I did have a little bit left over, and I went kind of nuts on the pom-pom and still had a fair amount left over. So, yeah, just a one skein project. Took, what, maybe a few days to make.
That was the fastest thing that he has ever knit.
In fairness, the Mecca hat that I made, when I restarted it, that was like 2 or 3 days too.
I think that just took you 2 days.
Probably. It was super quick.
It was super quick.
I mean, and that's a nice thing when you work on fingering weight things all the time and then you jump to a super bulky and you just fly through it. So that's always nice.
You know, Carson Dimmers, the ergonomic knitter guy, says that you really should switch up your projects like that to avoid cramps in your hands and just, work with different size needles and different weights of yarn to not be doing the same tight little thing all the time. I know there are people who just knit socks and only knit socks, but...
The translation here is, she would like me to knit more shop samples.
Somebody needs to do it. I'm knitting the Harmony sweater also. I think we talked about this last time. I got all the way down to maybe 3 inches below the sleeve separation and tried it on, and it was too big. So I ripped it out and have started again, and I am a couple of rows into the stripes. So I have the yoke right here, done my short rows on the back, and I may be right here. So we'll see how this turns out. I've gone down 2 needle sizes and 1 pattern size. Yes, I did a gauge swatch, but those never work for me.
By the way,
I don't want to talk about gauge swatches.
The pattern for that super chunky hat, by the way, was actually telling me that I should do a gauge swatch, which I totally did.
The sweater it's got some positive ease to it, and I don't like that much positive ease, so I think that's another reason why I'm just gonna start over again.
It's probably for the best. You're gonna invest quite a bit of time, effort, and yarn into that thing, so you want it to fit right.
I do. All right. Anything else?
I think that's about it. We need to do the giveaway.
Yes, we have 34 responders from last podcast.
And as a reminder,
what are you giving away there?
What we're giving away is a skein of Squishy and Color Storm.
Gonna get a random number generator. 1 to 34. Minimum 1, maximum 34, and go. 33.
Lord, it's always got to be the last one.
Just
Scroll. Okay.
It's not the last one, though.
It's the second to last one.
Yeah, who is it?
Leon Alexander.
Yay!
Go Logan!
Yay, Logan! Congratulations. I think we have your address.
We do, actually.
So we're going to send that to you. Congratulations. All right, our next giveaway is going to be one of my favorite pins, the Not Perfect pin. So tell me about a time that you've maybe had to rip out half a sweater and start over again, or a time where something you were knitting was just not right, so you ripped it out and used the yarn for something else. Or a big mistake that you felt, but you just left it in there because nobody will see.
Oh, I'm going over mine real quick right now if you want.
You're not eligible. But you can go ahead.
I'm just going to talk about it.
You want to hold it while you...
Yes.
Okay.
Not the Rasta hat, but the Mecca hat I did in Malabrigo, that was also super quick. When I first started knitting it, I didn't knit quite that fast. I spent, 3-4 days on it, and I got to the decreases.
Yes.
And when I started doing the decreases, it wasn't working out right, and that's when I realized that I had somehow cast on 10 too few.
But when you very first were realizing you didn't get, your first response was
to stick it on the yarn winder and have the winder pull it out.
No, your first response was
was it cussing?
It was what many people do, and they go, "There's a mistake in this pattern." You wrote the pattern wrong.
It was inconceivable to me that, I mean, I double check. I mean, it's just for it to be off 10 was just crazy. We're talking like 60 or 70 casts or whatever. So it was like a big part of it. So it was crazy.
I think you actually did say, Amy, your pattern's wrong.
There's a slim chance of it, yes.
And you know what? I'm not perfect.
None of us are. So yeah, I ripped the whole thing out, but then reknit it with the same yarn in 3 days, finished it up, and it worked out. So it's a shop sample.
Yay! Okay.
Yay.
Well, that's it for us right now. Hope you had a great January.
Yeah.
There's still a tiny bit of it left.
Mm-hmm.
We'll see you again in February. Bye.
Bye.